Before the bulletin board.
Yep.
Hey guys, how's it going? Dave, to answer your question, no executive session on that issue. As uncomfortable as that may be, just the law.
Thank you for checking that out.
You're welcome.
My idea was to go to a school board meeting tonight. But it sounds like that's gonna be
Was this in your pile?
pure executive session.
There's different rules that attach to school boards and especially with that particular situation, if I'm thinking the same thing. Who is the city attorney now?
Jennifer Goss.
For Hayes and Taylor.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a
She's officially their city attorney.
city attorney for Center.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she can have fun with that.
So Linda, you had started explaining yesterday about what we can put in for mileage for, like going out and checking roads.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like if I'm coming up for a county issue, to address something, is that, how do I,
We don't get paid to come to work,
right?
but if we have to do work-related things, that aren't here.
Right. So like today, we wouldn't get paid. I understand that.
Yeah. You can't just put in for mileage because you came in the chat with us.
Right.
If you had to come in especially for, I don't know. I don't want to get sideways with the IRS. We've already been there.
Okay, what
Well, like,
we've always done in
say
the past,
it.
if we get calls, it's the only time I ever put in mileage, say if somebody calls, if they have a problem, and then we go out and check, that's the only time I've ever put in mileage. But
Or
I
going
gotta
to
go check the
board
mileage, but I don't
meetings.
put in mileage unless somebody calls me.
And meals, if you go to meetings and
Right.
they don't provide food, we have a meal reimbursement.
We add 3 or 5 have a brief court appearance that have to be by Zoom. Can you take a break? So depending on where we're at.
Yep, I might not be in charge for that.
So you'll always be in charge.
One more minute. Three o'clock here, that'll be.
I was talking and I was already moving.
Okay.
Okay, call the meeting to order, and I'll turn the meeting over to our auditor as the temporary chair.
All right. I'm as temporary chair. I am going to reorganize the board. At this time, I will call for nominations for chairman of the county commission.
I will nominate Dave Berger for chair, and I will nominate Rob for vice chair.
Okay, I'm not sure how to go about this. I'd like to decline because of getting my feet wet. You have done an excellent job over the years. I've attended how many meetings? I guess in 1 year, I'd probably be interested, but at this time, I'd like to decline as chair nomination.
Okay.
Okay, we had a nomination.
I would
Dave
nominate,
declined.
yep, I'll nominate Lee,
Okay.
just because of his experience and his knowledge. And I being a new board member.
Okay. So we have a nomination for Lee for chair. Do we have a second?
You okay with that? For a year? Get us greenhorns
Yeah.
educated?
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a nomination and a second. Is there any discussion? Discussion. Seeing none, I would call for a vote. All in favor?
I
Opposed? All right, Lee, you are chair. You can take over the meeting for nominations for vice chair. He takes over then.
Thank you.
Okay, can I hear for nominations for vice chair, Olive County Commissioner?
You interested?
It don't matter.
Okay, I'll nominate Rob Schmidt for vice chair.
Okay. Any further nominations?
Well, I need a second.
We need a second.
Yeah, we
Okay.
need a second.
Do I second that?
You
I
can?
can't second, can I second my own?
Sure.
Okay, I'll second it.
Okay, now I can ask any further nominations. Further nominations, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, the meeting is automatically turned back over to me now?
You are in charge.
Oh, okay. The agenda for today's meeting. Have any, you had a chance to look at it? Okay, corrections, additions, I don't know of any offhand.
Nope, I don't have that.
Can I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the minutes for the December 30th and 31st meetings.
Mhm.
That is the one we just got, isn't it?
Yep.
That's 30th, 31st?
Yep.
Have you guys had a chance to read through them before the meeting? Or do we need a few minutes here?
I did somewhat, I was just curious, Trent Sack has $148.
That was probably an abatement.
Oh,
He overpaid his taxes.
oh, that's right,
It's a
okay.
refund.
Then I'll make a motion to accept the meetings from the December 30th meeting and 31st special meeting.
Okay, we have a
Second.
motion by Dave, second by Rob. All in favor?
Aye.
Bills.
There's quite a few on the add-on list because it's lunchtime in my office, so I don't have time to enter that folder for them up there.
And then are we paying anyone else for gravel?
No,
We just said it's the
um,
only place that we are paying.
no, it's the only gravel we have. We bought scoria from Mercer County that we paid for last month, and that was on last year.
Didn't we buy some from Martin County also?
No, not that they've sent
Well,
me a
Mercer
bill.
County did a road
way
out
down
there.
south?
They
That-
used
that was
their
for
own
Mercer
scoria.
Mercer
We
County
paid
County.
Mercer County
Bill
for
us,
that
yeah.
work.
Oh,
Yep.
I think we're kind of short on gravel.
I think we are.
Sign this too?
Yeah.
Mine, the sheet was in there, it was stuck to one of Jamie's.
It was stuck to the back of the sheet.
She just got it to me, so in November, December.
No, Brett, no worries.
Does that take all your microphones?
Mm-hmm.
They don't really sound like
Mm-hmm.
wonder why they reversed it for so long.
I don't know, because like at the beginning of the year, it was like, oh, as long as you obligate revenue replacement.
Yeah.
And then it was like, nope, you gotta have this, this, and this. Thanks.
Good thing that was caught.
Yes.
Otherwise, we'd be very unhappy people.
Yes.
Okay, here's the extra ones here.
Mm-hmm. Is that for printers and everything?
That's our internet charges for
Okay.
connecting.
No, we're not gonna review that one. And,
There's two separate bills there. One
Yeah.
is for the
We're
sheriff
not going back.
department.
There goes our phones then too.
Yep.
Electro Watchman, that's security.
Yes.
Is that
Yep.
Good
So
card.
they do
That's the
the.
down payment.
That's the down payment for the card access. But they are also the ones that do our security cameras and all that
The
stuff too.
outside ones.
so this would be the actual bid for 16 for the
Right, we have to pay them half.
Oh, yeah, we have
Got
to
it.
do a half.
That's for
payment.
the 3 doors plus,
The front doors and then the two
two
back
back.
doors. Yep. And then that's all we were doing were the outside ones. So
okay, that sounds great.
at this point, and then it includes if we ever want to expand to inside doors, they just have a
Capacity to do that.
yes. Yep.
and then Bobcat.
Yeah, that's from July, and nobody gave me the invoice. They called me and asked me how come we didn't pay, and I said, well, I would like to have an invoice. So they sent me an invoice yesterday.
So we can pay them today. For the lease on the skid steer or what?
$1,000.
Yeah, it was a
Does it say
rental.
in the
It
invoice?
was a rental
250 a
for-
day for something.
Yeah, but the invoice was just it was a, I don't know what they, something that Bobcat leases out.
Whatever TR 75 is.
Which is sign sheet.
Okay.
Okay, can I hear a motion to approve payment of the bills?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, we need a roll call vote on this, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Bills approved, bills payment approved. Alice, are you ready for us?
I suppose. Are you ready for me?
Yes, we're ready for you.
Just want to touch base with a few things. I'm asking for permission from this commission to go for a request for proposals to get an engineering firm to do our hazard mitigation plan. It is due next in 27, I believe. And we did get the grant for that, so that'll be covered by the state except for 25% of it. We would just advertise for requests for proposals from those engineering firms. And KLJ did it last time, so they'll more than likely bid it again. So
Can you say a grant?
yeah, we
Did
did
we get a grant to
for it.
cover
Yeah.
all that we did last time?
Yes.
We will again?
Yes, we did.
Grant covers 75%.
75% of it. So okay. So I'll have Jaden send that, get that advertised for requests for proposals.
Do you guys use like a website for RFPs? Because all we do is put it in the paper.
That's all we do too.
Okay.
So
Okay.
And people actually respond to that?
Depends.
they do. You know, and I kind of I emailed all of them too that I know that does this, so that they are get a heads up too. So
That's what we usually do for our gravel and equipment and stuff. I'll send them letters with the bid in
Yeah.
it saying we're doing bids because they don't all look at
right.
our paper.
As for the Homeland Security grant that we received, just to give you an update, currently working on the Mercer Oliver Ready smartphone app with the company already. Hopefully we can get that up going by March 1st if all goes well. And then I'll start doing some educational community awareness of the app so that people get used to it. It's just an app that you're going to download on your phone. It's going to give you your weather. You can hit where am I. They give you exact location of where you're at. All kinds of stuff. So that's great news that we're going through with that. Talked to a few schools already about doing some emergency awareness education with our students. That is age appropriate for each group. So hopefully we'll get that going as well. EMPG grant, I just submitted for our second quarter reimbursement.
We expect to get full funding for that, or is that a portion or what?
That is the one that you guys pay me for my EM services. So, and I think on the last bill, you guys will receive about $1,800 for it. Okay. FEMA floodplain, Patty and I will be doing 2 open hearings for that because it did change a little bit. So we will do that at the February and March meetings because we had to update our floodplain. What do they call that? Zoning, whatever.
We in a flood zone?
They changed the map.
They changed the map, yep. And they're requiring everybody to be 2 feet when you build now. It has to be 2 feet instead of 1 foot. So just some minor changes, but we have to have public hearings for that.
I have them scheduled for 1:30 at each of our commission meetings in February and March.
What zone?
It's for the Missouri River.
Oh, got it. So we're 500 year, probably.
And then I know Linda did talk to me, but just so you're aware, the 25 mileage reimbursement rate went up to 70 cents per mile. Now, do you guys have to have the commission approve that, or?
Typically, we've just followed what the state
Okay,
gives
No
us.
issues with that.
okay. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me?
Have you met with all the county employees?
Pretty much. So.
Okay.
I think I'm missing some of the sheriff's deputies, but that's going to be a hit and miss, I think, for a while.
Anything else for Alice?
Not right now.
Do you want to talk portfolio?
Oh, do you want to talk portfolios?
I gave everybody a list but myself.
Right back.
Oh, just kidding. I can do
Okay.
this. It's just this little one here.
Yeah, it's a little one on top.
Yeah. Huh.
I know at the last meeting you had asked if I could put together the departments that we kind of need to keep under the same person because
Correct.
there's joint. So that's kind of how I put the list together. Obviously, if you guys need to adjust it, but this is just kind of what I came up with. I know it was talked about that county road and sheriff should be together. And then like auditor, planning and zoning, risk manager, and tax equalization, we're all kind of, I do planning and zoning,
Joint
so
titles.
does Patty. Linda does risk manager, she's also deputy auditor, so we just threw those together. So
What's the, not that I personally have no position on this, but what's the thinking behind separating the sheriffs from the state's attorney and social services? All three of those departments work very closely together.
Well, that's something that could be, we can
can
change.
adjust it.
We
Yeah.
I'm just
Yep.
throwing
No,
that out
I
there.
just started making a list, and so I just kind of stuck them. I didn't even think of that, to be honest. So,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
no, and that we can adjust too.
just a thought, because, you know,
they do work closely together.
they
Yep.
do, and whoever holds that portfolio, just from the standpoint of having a good understanding of how the departments interact with one another.
Mhm.
I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
One of the things we're really trying hard to do is to get social services more connected with law enforcement in this county as well.
Sure,
So
sure.
having that team in place could be real good.
Anything else on portfolios?
I guess as far as the county road one, that still means each of us all answer to all people calling in about roads, right?
Yeah.
I don't take all the calls. I want to make that clear. I'm not going to take all of them. I've gotten enough already.
I think this is more for the
Personnel.
employees
Okay.
of those departments,
Yes.
not the public coming to that
Right.
specific
Good.
person.
You would
So-
be the busiest guy in the state.
I probably need a raise.
You probably would. You
And an
need,
assistant.
you need a support staff for
Yeah.
sure. And no, I won't be your support staff, David.
So as far as that goes, because we want sheriff and state's attorney and social
Yes.
services together, I guess who wants to take?
Who wants
do
that
we want
one?
to shift those from under to Dave outside of Rob? I'm
I'll take them if I don't mind. The road, you got more employees than I do, technically.
Well, as far as the risk manager, I've already requested that the office manager for the state's attorney's office be an assistant to that job.
and she said absolutely not. It was a joke. It was a joke.
I just thought
We have ways.
her spare time she could go down and do some of this with me. So keep it in mind.
We can talk about that.
Okay.
So is you serious about the no?
I was
We could call her in real quick and see how that goes.
I was in the auditor's office yesterday, looking up some of this, and she walked in, and I just suggested it to her, but
Oh, okay.
her comment back wasn't
Should.
Favorable.
not too favorable.
Okay. that's
What
good.
if she changed her tune for a full-time job?
You know. So do we need to approve this?
Yes.
Yes. So we're shifting sheriff over to Rob, and we'll keep county road, the rest of them as is.
Okay,
Yes? No?
I guess we did take off, I just noticed that, no, the golf board, Rochelle did get back to me yesterday.
Okay.
In their bylaws or whatever, when they started the golf club, it is in there that one person representing, city park board,
Mm-hmm.
one person representing, Oliver County Park Board,
Okay.
and then, 3 at large, and then, the city, auditor are all,
Okay. So
of their-
somebody from the county park board should sit on that board, whether it's a commissioner or
or the two,
a park board member.
Yep.
Okay.
and we're all considered park board members, so.
Right.
Yeah, I guess we're always supposed to have one. And looking back at one time we didn't, and then when Blake came on board, he took that position. So yeah, Rochelle checked it all out and she read it to me. In fact, I've got the email. So we should have a golf board
Should add that to the list here. Okay.
because the mayor would really like it. He had called also.
Sure.
So we need a volunteer to represent the county.
The park board.
We're representing golf. Which part of the is it?
It's the grounds,
It's
not
the grounds.
grounds.
Yep.
The grounds portion of the golf course.
Mhm.
And being Rob has the least experience at golfing, he that way we give him the opportunity to learn.
I think I've already been assigned to the city golf board.
That'll get you out there.
You think so?
Get you on the course, absolutely.
I've never actually been on that course.
So then we'll have to add
So
golf.
Rob, you volunteered to take that position.
I think you should have to start by playing this week. Then the middle of winter is good for you.
Keep finding on the golf ball.
Well, since we just added 2 to Rob's list, do we want to take one away from you?
I'm fine.
Okay.
There's not a lot, these aren't high staff positions.
No.
Most of them are 1 and 2s.
Mm-hmm. Then Veteran Services, he's up here twice a month, so I mean,
Yeah, I learned that the other day of my tour.
Okay, man.
I'll make the motion to.
approve with the changes.
Yes.
Second.
And we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have responsibilities.
You put that on the website.
yes. Okay. Alrighty.
Okay. Other business. County Depository Security First Bank approval.
Every year we have to approve using Security First Bank as our county bank. So I just need a motion approving that.
Okay, can you hear that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pledge analysis.
This one comes from Laura. Every year we get a pledge analysis from, it's the Bank of North Dakota along with Security First Bank. And they have to, there should be in your packet of stuff, that one there. Basically it's insurance for our money. Mhm. Laura explains it way better than I do, but basically it's insurance for our money because we have to have so much over, I think it's 150,000, and then above that, this
That's
is
our
the extra.
FDIC insurance.
So it's insurance above and beyond FDIC?
Yes,
That's a thing, huh?
I guess so.
What's that cost?
Laura would know better because she just gets that. I think we might get that quarterly or at least twice a year because I know we got another one in September of this last year, and I just give them to you. She gives them to me. I give them to you. I can have her come down, explain a little better if you want.
If she's available.
I can go check. Give me 2 seconds.
Maybe we need buttons, so she could just push the button and it buzz her off.
There used to be when I didn't.
So we have three different checking accounts?
Yeah. I've never seen this before.
Really?
Why do we have three checking?
I don't know.
Well, there's general fund, right? And then I don't know.
Maybe we'll get the page. Then they're coming down and she'll explain it to us.
Yeah, maybe I thought it was all journal entry differences.
No, I mean these are look like they're quarterly statements. Oh, per year, 2022, 23, 24. That's where it is. Would help if I opened my eyes and things, wouldn't it? There you go. Okay, so this is where we're at for 2024.
So what is this gonna cost us?
Nothing. Nothing. It doesn't cost anything.
Oh, that's good news.
That's just
So this is insurance above FDIC, understand,
If
kind of,
something would happen
a
with the bank.
replacement,
Yes.
Is it? And these are our funds in here, or
checkbook balances on those dates.
Yes. Yep. That's what the
okay?
And there's no cost.
No,
No extra
no,
cost.
that's something that we've always had. Yeah. Through the Bank of North Dakota and then Security First. So just above and beyond, if something would happen with the bank that isn't covered with the FDIC, we have to have 110% over the amount that we have
Okay.
covered with that's with the FDIC and the pledges.
What does that
hopefully
mean?
nothing-
Pledges, like what? Oh, I don't understand. I'm not familiar with how the banking insurance thing works. So there's this amount in our checking accounts, and then the
Yeah.
pledge required is
110% over what we have. So the FDIC is the $250,000 in savings and in checking.
oh I see.
And then we have pledges with the Bank of North Dakota, and then letters of credit through the bank. So if something would happen that the bank would go under, we would be covered. And that's something that we've always had.
We think we understand.
We think
I'm
we
not sure I
understand.
do.
So-
I'll be honest.
So if something happens with the bank,
Yeah.
we still have our money.
that's why I told
Yeah.
Laura to come down here because that's your area, not really
Yeah.
mine. So
Sounds like it's benefits with no cost to us.
That's
yes.
right.
So
Yeah, that's right.
be no reason to reject something like that.
Do we need to approve it?
Right.
What's the security that does? I mean, so we have, for instance, as of December, we had $600,000 in our checking account, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's these pledges? What does that mean? I guess.
That's just like if the bank would go under, we would be covered with FDIC for the 250,000,
Got that? Yep.
and then whatever wouldn't be, above and beyond that, that's covered.
Where does that money come from?
Some of it comes from the Bank of North Dakota, and some of it would be pledges that they've done through the bank.
Okay.
So
So in
Or
other words,
letters of
they're
credit-
basically
letters of
self-insured. The bank is self-insuring itself.
kind of,
Got
yes, yeah,
Okay, got it.
for us. So yeah, if something would happen that the bank, for some reason, we would be covered. And it's just, you guys don't have to do anything with this. It's always been brought forward to the meeting saying that we have it, that we're covered.
It's an FYI notice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Highway Patrol resolution.
Every year we just have this short one-line resolution requesting that the highway patrol patrols the county roads in Oliver County to kind of help us because we just have the 4 sheriffs, and I just basically need a motion
Okay. Well,
agreeing that we want to ask them to
take a
help
look at
us out.
what we're agreeing to. We do it every year.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So moved.
Okay, we have
Second.
a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Thank you.
Board appointment discussion. This, all the boards that we have,
Yes. We received 3 applications so far for planning and zoning, and 1 for weed board, none for park board. So I know there's been some people that have called each of you.
Have we got openings on the other two? Weed board and park board?
There's 2 terms that expired on weed board. So Linda's and Dorothy Dewar's were expired in December. So yes, there's 2 openings there. And then the one on the park board, because Dave was on the park board, now that he's a commissioner, we have an opening there, so.
okay, on these boards now, when their term is complete, we don't get rid of them. I mean, they can stay on the board if they've been active member.
Well, that's what we had discussed
Yeah,
at the last
and,
meeting, but
so-
then you had said we need to advertise for the positions,
Uh-huh.
so then it ended up being we advertised
I
for
thought that was
everything and.
if they didn't want to remain on the board, but you
So,
said that 2 of them didn't
well-
want to remain?
One of them was no longer going to remain on planning and zoning. That
Randy's
was
here.
Randy.
He had called and said he was gonna step down.
Lonnie had expressed interest. We had 2 people for sure that I knew of that were interested in being on the board. Well, now there's 3 applications for planning and zoning, and we already advertised for 2 open spots on planning and zoning, 2 open spots on weed board, and 1 on park board based on the meeting that we had that discussion at. So,
And we got 3 for planning and zoning, and we got
no, 2.
2 for planning and
2 for
zoning.
planning and zoning. Oh,
Oh,
3 applications, yes.
right.
Okay.
Because Gary has applied, right?
No.
Oh, you
Not
haven't
yet.
yet, okay,
I was gonna ask for this.
okay.
So then we'll have 4 for planning and
For
zoning.
planning and zoning, that's not the weed board.
Yes, and then 1 has applied for weed board so far, and then none for park board yet.
Was this in the paper?
We advertised it. I sent it to him shortly after the last meeting, so I'm guessing it'll be in this week's and next week's. So then we would make a decision at the February meeting.
So there's possibly going to be more than.
There could be,
That's,
yep.
It's great if they have the interest.
Yep. And I have the application in my office. So if they needed me to email it or print it out, they come in, whatever. Alice sent me what Mercer County uses, and I just changed it to fit Oliver County. And it's just a 1-page, what's your interest, what would qualify you, what board are you interested in. Pretty simple application, so.
Okay, on the park board now? You need?
Yep.
Would be
I'm
short
gonna,
one?
I got a couple people I'm thinking of. I'll probably just call them and suggest them to think about it. It's, we meet twice a year and disperse a little money in that, what we yielded before, and that's it.
So you may know somebody that's interested.
Yep.
And that would also be included in your ad.
Yep, it was included in the advertisement, yep.
And so like anybody that's sitting here, even if you want to step up as chairman, and then us 3 commissioners are the park board, along with whoever the 5th person will be. So it's about a 20-minute deal twice a year in front of the commissioners.
Okay, do we need any more on the discussion for the park board or for the board appointments?
Just
And,
updating you, I guess.
We'll make a decision at the February meeting, you said? Okay.
Yes, yep.
Board member pay rate. I have my thoughts on that. We do our budgeting in the fall. We start in July. We approve our budgets by October. And if sometime during the middle of the year, somebody wants an increase in salary or wages, I don't think we should open that up because it's something that will never end. Because if we do it once, we're going against our entire budgeting procedure. And if sure we could do it, but if we transfer money, but my recommendation is we stay away from it. So I guess I need to know your thoughts.
I'm not opposed to that
I
mentality.
agree, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, when the budgeting process kind of starts in
Usually in July,
April, May
yeah.
is when I give out the sheets to each
We're
department.
less
So
than
if
6 months from starting over.
right, I mean, so if we want to adjust the board member pay, it's as simple as when we're talking budget changes, we just increase that amount when we're talking for our 26 budget. I mean, we're not that far away from.
Should we
Talking about it
explain
again,
that
so.
to everybody else that's listening and what's here? Why it was brought forward by one of the board that they thought they should get more per meeting. And so if we give it to one board, we've got to give it to all the boards. And I guess Rob and I both agree with Lee's point. They had a chance to, submit this to the budget way back. And they didn't, and now they've come forward. And I think as a group, we've all agreed that we're not going to bump it up at this time till this coming
This fall.
budget.
And going through the breakdown of what other counties pay compared to Oliver County, we're so close right now with what we pay, just a few dollars less than the average of the counties.
We're not that far off from
No,
the average
this-
for that, so.
I went through like 15 counties and I threw out the top two and threw out the last two of counties that were equivalent. Counties under 2,400 people is what I used. And we're paying like $45 and overall that we're paying $49 or something like that. So very little difference. So we're okay with leaving that go till next budget time.
Yep.
Planning and zoning and comprehensive plan updates. Estimate from SRF Consultant.
Yes. This was something that I had kind of, I brought up earlier last year about our comprehensive plan. And the last time it was updated or done was in 1976. I received a quote from SRF Consulting. For both the comprehensive plan and the planning and zoning ordinance, reformatting it because it's kind of a little bit hodgepodge together because of all the different changes that have been made. And it's just formatting wise, it's a little messy. So this firm was at one of our planning and zoning meetings in July. And they do a lot of work with counties and cities on this. On like the second to last page is the amount for each of these. They're high, but it's a lot of work to get it up to snuff and up to date, basically. The comprehensive plan is $59,743.20. That's for time and work done by this firm, plus with hearings that you have to have in order to make those updates, the work done by planning and zoning and the commission. That's how they figured their cost. They gave me this nice handout of information and why it would cost that much. And then the zoning ordinance reformatting and reorganization, the total cost is $20,462.90. I just asked for a quote. There's nothing saying we have to do it, but because we're a little outdated with the comprehensive plan and there have been changes in the county and there's changes with industry and everything, it would be probably beneficial to do something, but it's not we don't need to do right now, but I brought the numbers to you to let you think about it. There are grants available through the state for stuff like this. I'd have to do some more digging because the last round of grants for that specific purpose was done. They just paid them out in 24, and I don't know if like the Lewis and Clark Regional Development Group does grants for stuff like this. The Department of Commerce is the one that had grants for planning and zoning comprehensive plans, because they were on that Main Street initiative and making your county better kind of a thing. But we do have LATCF funds that can be used for something like this, but just bringing it to your attention.
Yeah, the original one that we put together back in 67, what did you say?
76.
It's kind of interesting to read because it's all pretty much all set up to maintain the farmland as it was and doesn't take into account virtually any industry that could come in. It does mention that industry.
It mentions it, but it's very agriculturally.
You said they were going to open the coal mine back in those days.
Yeah.
But 90% is spelled out to protect the farmland, which is great. I mean, but you still have to consider the industry too.
Updating the comprehensive plan, you have to have that in order to enforce your planning and zoning ordinance. And kind of, that's one thing that they told us at these meetings that we've had, like having a comprehensive plan allows you to enforce everything else. When you have one from 76, but you're changing your ordinance, it gets kind of hard to
make everything match.
Yeah. So
It's almost 50 years old.
Well, to give you some idea how old I am, I was on that.
Yes, Lee was on
committee
that.
for the original one.
What exactly is the comprehensive plan?
It's basically giving goals and plans for the future development of the county. It has goal 1 this, goal 2 this, and it's basically saying we want to preserve and protect this much for farmland. We will allow industrial advances in this specific area, only this many acres, or that kind of a thing. I can give it to you. I have a digital copy of it. I had to scan it all in because we didn't have any copy but a hard copy back in the vault hiding. So,
and then the county zoning ordinance would be just basically rewriting it, essentially.
Making it, basically reformatting it, because right now I went and I tried to reformat it myself with, point A or article 1. It's messy.
Yeah, and you
It's
really
messy.
screw up with the meanings on it.
Yes. And even just taking it word for word and just doing point A and then your sub points, it's messy. And so having a firm come in and actually do it that knows what they're doing could be beneficial. And then you're not having people coming in confused about, well, your ordinance says this here, but it says this here. And
also making sure that it's in compliance with what the Century Code.
Yes.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Yes, that's a big one too. Making sure that we're not overstepping in areas that we should not be overstepping.
Which we were.
Yeah, we're trying to anyways, I guess. In some cases, and then other parts it was we have more power than we realized. So, something to think about. Obviously, I don't need a definitive answer today. Those are pretty large numbers, but we do have the LATCF
And that's good
money.
for how long?
That one, I have a reporting requirement every year, but there was no specific deadline laid out with that one. I mean, I would say let's use it sooner than later for something beneficial to the county so we don't run into a potential, now you have to give it back. But for that one, it's not as strict as what the ARPA was, because that one is use those funds for anything except lobbying. So
So maybe we should get it in motion, or
I mean, we can think about it, and I can let them know we're thinking about it until the next meeting if you want to kind of
Find some money
It's just
for it.
look through this. And
Are these guys pretty much the only option?
I'd have to look. These are the ones that have worked with planning and zoning at the NDACO level the most. So they're pretty well known and they're used to working with all of this. So, I mean, I can definitely look if there's others,
if you
but
look back, I can't remember what page it is, that LETCF. Did I remember it? Was there like
there's
96,000
roughly $96,000
in there for
So
something like that?
Well, now to think about it, and then maybe you can check out.
I can see if there's other firms out
other
there.
firms and
Yep.
then make a decision that maybe by our next meeting.
Yep,
Sure.
I can do that.
Keith, we took outside courthouse work. Who wants
Okay,
to
so-
talk about that?
I had, Daryl had told me that he was working with Keith last year. And of course, Keith has kept up the yard work for 3 years, I believe. And, it was just a matter of the sidewalks, keeping clean and everything. He'll take on the snow removal and ice. And that way we'd have somebody on top of it every day, and, he's not charging any more than he was for summer, but I think talking to him, this Cub Cadet mower that we have, when he tried to pick up leaves, it left as many on the ground after he went and did it. So he brought his own mower down and finished cleaning up. So maybe it's something we need to think about in the future, is getting a better one, and then buy something with a snow blower on it so he could even do the back parking lot right away instead of having the county come up. Because like the snow the other day dumped maybe an inch, and so then the county came up and swept it with the sweeper on the skid steer. But this is something he could stay on top of all the time. And I believe right now Linda had told me he's getting $25 an hour. He
25
uses his
an
own
hour.
equipment, right?
Yes, he bills us for $25 an hour. Uses his own equipment, fuel, everything. He just comes up and he takes care of it. He did come in and I did give him a key to the boiler room so he could get the ice or the ice melt, the salt, and then a key to the shed to get equipment out of there that he may need, like shovels and whatever else. But otherwise, he does bring his own equipment when he does the lawn. So,
And he will do the outside windows twice a year. And he bought his own squeegee and everything to do that project. The only thing is,
He
he's
has
using
been
his,
pretty reliable as far as
he's pretty like in the summertime, especially when he does the lawn. He's comes up regularly to make sure it looks good, cleans up the leaves in the fall. He's pretty good at what he does. So,
he's got it trimmed up nice for old settlers.
Mhm.
So my idea was just to keep him going, but give him the snow removal also. And then there is no power in this shed over here. I think we need to get that wired in. Then we can keep all the
How
salt
about-
in here.
if we include that, he should become familiar with the sprinkler system, or is he?
I mentioned that to him. Alice and I have been talking about getting job descriptions, and so we write one up for him also. And that would include, taking care of getting salt or the ice melt and a lot of things like you're saying. Yeah, he had no problem with taking on.
we may have to redo that sprinkler system because, from what I understand, it's not working. It's broken. Like some of the lines are broken, and whoever put it in is no longer in business to do that, and we just haven't had anybody come up and fix it. So I don't know any sprinkler companies.
Daryl said he'd work with him on it because Daryl's been staying on top of it. And in fact, 2 years ago, Keith and I came and we marked all the sprinklers. We found all but 3 of them, but we had them all marked. So he actually knows where they're all at now at this point. And then I believe the southwest corner, Daryl said them don't work at all. So that's something that Keith and I had talked about, and I think he just watered a little bit this last summer just to keep it green back there. Manually watered, with sprinkler or whatever.
What else should there be in the job description then besides all this stuff we mentioned? Anything else that we think of? Well, when you work on the job description,
I think
maybe come up.
as hard as Keith is to work with, I think if we said, hey, Keith, we'd like this done,
He'd probably do it.
he'd do
He
it.
did come in and ask about salt. I know we talked about it at the last meeting. But he said he recommends something that doesn't destroy the grass and the concrete. So I did some digging, and there's stuff called, it's CMA, which is calcium magnesium acetate, I think. It's more expensive than what we've been getting, but that stuff that we've been getting has been eating away at the concrete. We've noticed there's pock marks, and which is why we have to get it replaced partially too. Fastenal can get it for about $2,097 for a pallet of 49 bags. I can get the same kind on Amazon for the same amount for $1,560 with free delivery. But
That would be all in bags though?
yes, it's all bags. They didn't have pails of this kind. I looked for this specific CMA, whatever. It's more expensive than what we've been getting. But if we want to keep the concrete in good condition, especially when we get it replaced in the spring, we might have to look at paying a little bit more to make sure that it stays in good condition. So we're not replacing it again in a few years. So,
So, are we all in favor of?
Well, if we need a motion, I'll make that motion to hire Keith and then I guess part of it is if he's using his own equipment, if the transmission or gearbox or motor goes out, he's not making a lot, unless we buy our own machine for up here, but otherwise maybe add a little to make up for that. Maybe go to $2,750. Because I know the time he puts in. As chairman of the Old Settlers, I worked with him for a lot of projects, different years. And
he's very thorough. I mean, he doesn't just do it halfway.
Okay, you made a motion to what effect then?
to hire Keith Vitek for summer and winter help or whatever maintenance. And
At an hourly
grounds,
rate, at an hourly rate.
and an hourly wage of $27.50.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second
We
that.
have a second. Any further discussion on this? So you will be working on a job description then? Okay. Dave, you gonna have input on that one?
Yep, I'll work with Allison and Ed Keith.
I don't know, I was gonna ask that. He's not a county employee though, right?
So if he's gonna be contractual, then we gotta.
It would just spell out what we were expecting for his contract duties.
Or he's got to carry his own liability insurance.
Yeah.
So might have to take a look at that out. So if he gets hired on as a contract employee, right, that means that he's responsible for his own equipment and responsible for his own liability insurance, which to someone doing what he does is going to be minimal, but he's going to have to provide it. And so I don't know what the going rate for someone like that would be, but the benefits to the county obviously are not going to pay payroll tax, workers' comp, such like that. So I don't know.
So,
So maybe we should rescind the motion and talk to him about that. He could be here today, so otherwise he'd be down here.
okay, how about, if we supplied the equipment, would that
Yeah, I
change
mean,
anything?
They absolutely could. That would be not a problem. Then the county becomes responsible for the maintenance of it, but he would still have to provide his own liability insurance. So I guess the only question is what's the appropriate compensation rate? I have no idea.
As a contract, I mean, right now he's the one that bills us when he does the lawn.
Oh.
He brings in a bill and says, I did the lawn for X amount of hours, and
Does
then
he
that's
have-
how we pay for it.
Does he have
So
liability insurance?
that's a good question.
Wow.
He's been doing the lawn for as long as I've been here, so I know.
Let's make sure he gets liability.
Yeah. So that's where, if he's the one that's billing us, does he set his rate of pay? So if he increases it to, I'm going to bill you for $27.50 an hour versus 25,
I think that if
you
he's going to
know,
be a contractor, then I think there should be some sort of discussion
right.
regarding wages rather than, I mean, that's up to you guys, but if the commission sets a specific wage,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't like it, it might be a good idea to have a conversation
Sure.
with him
Sure.
about what his costs are. And if we are going to provide the equipment, what does that cost?
So I guess if you wanna rescind your second, I'll rescind my motion.
Yeah.
And I'll meet with Keith again and then, maybe get him at the next meeting. But until then, Keith will come and take care of the sidewalks and everything.
So we're officially okay on that right now, then, just do that, we're sending you one, okay.
Okay.
January 9th, what's up?
So I'm asking because I was asked, and I'm like, well, our policy manual kind of says it. Jimmy Carter died, obviously. His funeral is tomorrow. President Biden declared it a national or federal offices closed day. Our policy manual kind of says we follow what the president declares as a holiday, but I don't know if you'd consider this a holiday. So the auditor's email group blew up the last 3 days. Are you closing or are you not closing? What does your policy say? Some are closing because technically it's a federal holiday. Some are not. Some say we go to our commissioners. I'm just bringing it to you to discuss. I don't need the day off tomorrow, so it's...
Anything ever in the past? Was it Reagan?
The only thing that we've changed
I don't know.
recently is the Juneteenth holiday, because that officially became a federal holiday. Whether or not we need June 19th off every year is up for debate, but it is technically a federal holiday. So we did add that to our list of holidays for the county. But
I say no.
I'm fine with it. I'm just brought it up for discussion because I know our manual is kind of says, yes, you get this if the president declares it a federal holiday or federal office closure. It kind of says we also follow what they say, but then it's kind of gray because it says a federal holiday. Now, that'd be an annual thing. This, I'm assuming, is just a one-time. I'm assuming it's going to be a one-time thing. So, I mean, I don't know that we need the 9th of January off for Jimmy Carter, so.
I don't know what I suppose if it's declared a federal holiday, we close the courthouse if it's declared a federal holiday, but
I don't know that this is technically
think it has
considered a
been.
federal holiday. I think it's just he's declaring federal offices closed for that day. And that's where it became the gray area. It's like, well, federal offices are closed, but it's not really a holiday. So it's just brought it up for discussion.
Okay.
We don't have to do anything with it.
I guess, what do you guys think? I know what I think.
It's an interesting topic.
Yeah.
I don't know, if the federals are closing, I guess that's the feds.
Yeah.
The state really doesn't have to abide by it.
No, and I know one county brought up that they actually amended their policy manual to say that if it's the federal government or the president, the governor, and the county commission declare a day closed is when you would officially close. Like we'd have a meeting and you'd say, okay, all three of us are suggesting we close on this day, then we would close. But only if the county commission agrees to it, because I think they actually decided not to observe Juneteenth they changed that because of Juneteenth, so they don't.
Well, and as of last night, the governor in his speech didn't say anything about it, so I don't think the state is recognizing
As far
it,
as
so.
I know, they're not. So
Okay, we're not.
So we don't need to do it. That's
We're not
fine.
closing, okay.
That's fine.
Kyle. You want any snow? Push any snow?
On the sidewalk already. Which is good in some ways. Could come back,
Bite you later.
maybe. The way it is, what do you do?
Question, we talked a little bit earlier, do we have gravel? Do we have much left? Do we have any besides what's out at Higgs? That's it. How much we have left?
Yeah, 50,000 maybe? I don't know, it's a rough guess.
What do we start out with?
I think it's well over 100.
That's gonna last 2 more years. That's what we heard earlier.
Yeah. We're paying for it for 2 more years.
Yeah, it could be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have 2 more years left on his
Contract.
contract.
Has anybody checked with B&I? What gravel out there yet?
So we have our geologist has started an exploration plan. Not started a new drilling, but has drill holes. So we're planning, but it's not executed on the new. Keep you guys in the loop as we get through the exploration days.
Other than that, the other ones we checked, we have a problem with.
Yeah, I see the
Couple
excavator leaving town, but
Yeah, we had 2 beaver dams open yet.
oh,
Got them open. Got them flowing. Hopefully it'll take care of them for a
so
while.
they don't flood the road in the spring.
Yep.
Kyle had his crew out last week, I believe. They were out on my road chewing up trees with that, what do you call that machine?
Motion.
And chewing up trees in the road ditch. And they did a pretty good job. They got a lot of that were holding snow, and I did talk to the 2 guys that were out there, and I don't know if Marvin talked to you, but on Barry's land right north of me, there's tree rows that come out, and I don't know, 8 to 10 years ago, they cut back part of them, but if we get a lot of snow like 2 years ago, it totally drifted across big 3-foot banks, and so I'll check with Barry, but if they want to come in with the blade or the loader someday, I think they should probably remove another 30, 40 feet just to prevent drifting across there. But there is a rock pile in front of both tree rows.
And also, have you ever gotten to that Ryan Weber road? Have you
Just
cut those
got
trees?
them finally.
You did? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cut those.
Trying to find a place, nobody wants trees no more yet.
Oh.
So he finally called me yesterday and said, you can pile some grain bins or something back to north of or south of them there. Said we can pile them there, so.
What else happened?
Not much. I'd like to step down.
This road supervisor,
Yep.
superintendent or whatever.
If you do, you're going to stay on as the blade operator? What?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys talked to me, how many years ago did you say, when they first talked to you to take the job after Bruce passed? That's when he took the position.
10, for sure.
I've had more than that.
I think you're
It's
right.
gotta be 13, 14,
He passed away in 2014.
14.
Yeah, we talked you into taking a job, and you said you really didn't want to, but you would hoping if you took the job that you could, if you someday you didn't want it anymore, that we would say go back and be a blade operator or truck driver or whatever, and we'll hold to that too. So when you plan on
Tomorrow,
tomorrow?
we have
So we will advertise for a replacement.
And I suppose till we hire, I don't know if it takes 2 months or a month, but I suppose we'll have to appoint someone to step in for that time.
And you volunteered?
No. I guess talking to Alice about different things, that's something we gotta, I don't know if it means I have that portfolio, if I have to be involved, or we all do to appoint temporary. You know, is that my position, or do we all have to, how do we handle that?
Commission.
I think we all,
Okay.
yeah.
I know Daryl had been, back before Kyle took it, he was gonna take the position. But he didn't want it on a full-time basis, but maybe he'd be interested, I don't know. He's listening right now probably, so maybe he could think
That
about
would
it.
be great if he would do that, yeah, because he definitely knows that end of it, and he knows what's happening.
He knows how to run the equipment,
Yeah.
or some of it, I guess. The newer stuff is probably different. Alice, you have anything to add?
I do not. I think we would put it out there for the interim position first, and then I'll advertise for the road superintendent on job service, Indeed, and in the newspapers. And we do have a job description for it, so
You say you do have the job description?
I do.
I think she gave that to me last week, so
Oh,
I read it over and then I don't know if there's anything to add, but that maybe I could, maybe Kyle wants to look at it and see if he thinks there's anything to add, you know, or Daryl. Being she's put a lot of years into it.
Do you want me to post that on our website too?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And Facebook.
Okay, we can chat after, so I get everything posted right.
And then that you know that your wage will go down to the paid operator wage.
okay, so we're okay there. Anything else? Yep. Okay, State Road Department building land discussion. Is that something that
Yeah,
Kyle
so-
gets involved in here?
I was at the city council meeting and Adam Vaughn, who's the State Department road superintendent up there, whatever he is, he had mentioned that the state is gonna be moving the two buildings up to their industrial site up here, and they're leaving one building. And he doesn't know if it'll be 3 months or 6 months or a year, but they'll be putting that land up for sale. And so I just thought maybe that's something we need to look at right now. If we had an extra building, we could put more of our equipment in there. But maybe it's more land than we need, and maybe they want more than we need. I guess it's just something for consideration to think about.
Is there any building that we have out there right now that we could renovate a portion of it for weed board?
Not really. That weighted building to the south there, that's garbage really. I mean, that ain't nothing. Yeah, no, not really.
None of us seem to know how big a building we need.
Depends on how much chemicals they want to store and stuff. That's gonna be. There's heat in that other building down there, you know, the one at the state over there, it's got.
Is that one of them that they removed?
No, I think they're just moving it to salt shed.
Something like that,
The
yeah.
salt shed and then there's a little one beside it or something.
So the heated one would stay.
Yeah, they didn't want to move that. It's not worth moving.
Well, it costs more than it's worth.
And it's on cement
Yeah.
and. Yeah, I just thought after he said it, it's just something worth looking
Yeah.
into.
The city has their shop kind of down, like,
To the street to the west of ours.
right, like in the same fenced-in area,
Yeah.
right? So they own that portion.
They're
Right.
supposed to, yeah.
Okay.
That's as far as I.
Well, I'm just curious if we have like a shared space with them there. I wonder if we could have a shared space with them with the state lot too. I mean, you know, I don't know. I don't know how that would work, but
It's not actually for sale yet. though.
Not yet.
no, not officially.
I think, I talked to them, they thought maybe they'd get their buildings moved by maybe this coming summer sometime. And then they said they were out to sell that whole portion of land. Do you know how much is there?
It goes clear over to Tracy's Road over there.
It does
It's just
go
kind
that?
of a narrow.
Okay.
Do you suppose it's double of what the county area is?
It's the same distance deep off the highway, isn't it?
Yeah,
To the
It's
south?
square with us to
Yeah.
the south.
it might be a little bit more, being it longer.
It seems long east
Yeah,
and west.
it's longer. Yeah. I don't know if we could twice as much, but
Well, when I talked to him,
being
he
with,
said, go ahead.
being with the city cut, their chunk cut out of there, yeah, then it would be. If you consider everything, yeah, probably not.
When he said they're gonna move their gravel and bottom ash and
Yeah.
salt piles and everything, so they have no use for it at all once they decide.
Is there any way we can get on their list to call us before they actually list it?
I'm wondering if they don't have to advertise,
Being it's state property.
Pretty sure.
but that would give us time to, if we wanna consider, to start making a plan.
Well, something to think about.
Yeah, it doesn't have, sewer or anything in there. They got a septic tank.
How big is that building? Ballpark? Is that big enough to get equipment in?
You could get a couple of loaders in there probably.
But the blades wouldn't fit.
I don't know if they fit in there or not. You could probably get one in there maybe.
I just wonder if the door's big enough.
I don't know
That'd
what
be the
size.
tricky
I
part.
don't know what size door's on there.
I don't know.
I know they can get their loader in there and stuff. They had their before. They were little smaller trucks, but they had 2 trucks in there before.
Well, you get your truck in the east door.
Yeah.
The blade fits in that door.
Yeah, they fit in them all.
Well, it should
Yeah.
fit. I would think we'd get 1 or 2 in there.
Tell them. Yeah.
Well, and that's one of the reasons they moved up here was the sewer system.
Yeah.
The cost to hook up to the city
Yeah.
was pretty substantial, so that's why they moved. So for us to even hook up would be a big expense unless we went with an underground septic system.
Because they were trying to hook in at the same time. We were trying to get together.
Well, they do have a septic tank out there, but it's
We're not hooked into it.
Yeah.
been destroyed.
We're not hooked into the city sewer.
I didn't know that.
No, what county isn't either.
Well, I think it stops by Sheldon's there, I think, by the park, I think it stops.
Mm.
Then on the other side, I think it goes up to, there used to be, to the north side here, whatever, by Scott's there. I think that's the dividing line over there. I don't know if Scott's on it or not, I don't think he is.
Probably isn't.
No, I wouldn't think so.
I don't think he is.
I don't think I've always run it.
I don't know. So yeah, everything stopped right there.
I bet it stops by the Dollar General on the north side.
Could be. I don't know if Hintz is there got, or it used to be Hintz, I guess.
Right.
I think they got a well.
Well, Kyle.
Yep.
Thanks for
So,
14 years. You worked probably one of the most difficult jobs that the county ever has, is being a road superintendent. And you survived it for 14 years, and most people have never made it that long as a road superintendent. So you've done your duty, and we hope you stay with us for a lot of years yet. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So, I guess we need to, from the weed board, we need to find out how big a building they
Yeah,
need.
they gotta come with a plan.
Yeah.
How much chemicals do they have? Is it like just a huge stockpile?
No,
Somebody said 60-some thousand they ordered.
63,000 this last year they ordered.
63,000.
that's what they ordered.
I can't
But-
give you quantity on
Most of the time,
that, but dollars.
Oh, dollars.
so most of the time, that dollar amount is based on what they order because of what farmers and producers order through them first. That's how they know how to order.
Mm-hmm.
They put out the form prior to doing cost share. That's how much they order based on what is requested by the farmers. So there's very little carryover because of that. They only order what is ordered through them.
What are the unique requirements for storage for chemicals like that? I mean, I suppose it has to be heated.
It has to be heated and contained in case of
contained.
spill. And they did purchase containment bins. You put the pallet in the bin or whatever. It's got a bottom in case of a spill.
How
but
much square feet storage is there? Is it thousands? Is it
no.
Right now they stored up at the 4-H building up at the fairgrounds during the summer.
And how many square feet is that?
Well, he only uses probably 30 feet of the building, and then probably 30 feet wide. He doesn't use it all. Well, he does. He has a sprayer, or a couple sprayers in there.
I know I had brought it up before and you had said no, but that garage in my building is like 1,000 square feet.
Square footage would be big enough. I don't know if the rest of it would be.
And then there's the office space in the front. I mean, again, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just really trying to figure out like what.
The containment would be the issue.
Yeah.
The square footage would work.
And I don't know what that. What. I don't know how do you retrofit something like that? What does that cost? Is it cheaper than building a new building? Who knows?
It's been a long time since I've had a bid on a Roundup shuttle containment deal. I can't honestly tell you what the numbers are.
Heating that space wouldn't be too hard, I wouldn't think.
Well, and I think one thing I've thought about is if it's a half a pellet of chemical that we're storing over the winter, and right now we're taking it to Interbase. I don't believe they're charging us, if I remember saying.
I doubt it.
But even if they would, it'd probably, when you figure heating anything, it'd probably be worth to pay Interbase to store it for the winter.
For sure.
Probably the bigger thing now is a distribution area.
Yep.
So they're not
Secure.
using the 4-H building and the fairgrounds.
For most of the summer, right?
Yeah, they do an early summer cost share, and then depends on how many people show up for that day, chemical pickup, and then whatever's left sitting in there, until people get all their stuff. And if needs to be ordered or whatever. But then it has to be cleared out in time for the fair or any other activities that take place up there because of liability concerns and chemical concerns but
Oh, we just need to get more info. County vehicle decals.
I just did a quick couple of options. 2 different sites. One is signs.com and the other is Sticker Mule, magnets and decals. Signs.com is a little bit nicer because you can do a magnet that's actually cut out to about this shape of the county outline. It's a little bit higher, but they're a little bit higher quality, it seems too. So, and they do the more you order, the less per piece it would cost. Kyle did come in and he said we need about 28. Now, I'm assuming that's 2 per vehicle, 1 on each side. But the question would be sticker or decal or magnet, depending on which piece of equipment we're talking. So I said I'd bring you guys some numbers. The one is 287 and the other is 540. Yeah.
Okay, this has bumper stickers on there.
Well, it's like a decal sticker. That's what this website has as an option for like decal or stickers. This other one, looking at them, this one would probably be our better option. The one that's a little bit higher priced because it's specifically protective laminate decal. And then same thing for like the magnet. It's got the protective,
So it'll last longer.
so it should last longer. Yep. And the magnet is more of a heavy duty that sticks to the vehicle. So
So do we need to order 5 extra for future vehicles, say in the next?
Probably.
I mean, we can always get. Yeah, I mean, I can order. It's not like they're gonna go bad or expire. It just says Oliver County Road Department on it, so it's not like it's gonna be
Do
a.
they go on the sheriff's vehicles too?
No, the sheriffs have their own.
I think the magnet ones we just put on the lowest equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, get 10 extra ones, I would say.
Okay.
It's only 5 units.
So, Jane, you recommended that.
I would say the signs.com one over the other one, just because looking at the quality of the product, I mean, it's not that this other one is bad, it's just that this one is more designed for that kind of a purpose, from what I'm looking at
You
here.
don't
So.
want even falling off the equipment, we'll just keep buying new.
Right.
So we go with the better one? A little more expensive
I
one?
would say that'd probably be your better option. I mean, you pay for what you get. I mean, you want maybe higher quality so it lasts us a little bit longer, hopefully.
I'll make the motion to go with that and then have the extras.
We have a motion,
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion on? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Do we have anything else?
All I have is a breakdown of the ARPA after we had our last meeting, if you just want to have this for your information. Based on the current balance that's in there and then the projects that we previously allocated and then the ones that were made at that meeting, the decision. So on the bottom, it has that breakdown per month of whatever was remaining in the balance we designated for health insurance coverage for general fund employees. So it'll cover January through May and then partial June, and then all the money is taken care of. So. And then we're in compliance and we're not gonna get in trouble or lose our money, so.
Okay. What did we decide to do with that west door? Replace the whole door?
Yes, we're
Two doors
replacing
or one?
just the outside one. We're turning it into an exit only door. So he came in and he looked at it and measured it. Must have been Friday afternoon last week or something like
So
that.
that's on order, you're in the process?
Yes, that is also in the process. That was one of them that we
We
agreed
don't
to.
need
So.
the key thingy for that being it's an extra only?
Nope, we do not. So that's why
You
the
good with
cost
that?
of the key fob thing went
And
down.
we're not gonna do anything in the sheriff's department with it.
Not the inner doors, no. We're just doing the outside, the 2 back doors and then the front doors. That's it.
That works for you, Dave?
That's fine.
So instead of the key codes back here, we just have the card access. So should we need to change somebody's access, add, take away, whatever, we have that. We'll have that ability. So, and then the front doors get to be put on an auto timer. So they'll automatically unlock at 8 and lock at 4.
Did they say how many cards would come with that?
I think it's as many as we need to program. Last time I talked to him, he said it's as many as you need to program, I'm pretty sure, so. And we're getting the option to, if we want to expand to inner doors, we have the ability to do so, should we want to.
So are we gonna have extra cards though for future employees? You know, like,
I don't know if it's cards or if it's just like a little fob. They depends on their system. So it could just be like a little fob that you put on your keychain that unlocks it. So
You'll have to replace it over time anyway, because they'll go bad.
yeah, or if somebody loses it or whatever. So when they get me all the information, I'll have more details for you on that. But kind of when they're going to start setting it up. Sounds like as soon as they can, they're going to get us on their list. So.
Greg, we have anything from BNI?
Don't. In I think February we should have our sequencing done, so we can get some new maps. And still looking at probably sometime in February, early March. Hopefully that we can try and work with you guys to get scheduled again for the pre-run stuff on our overpass. Not everything else. Pretty normal operation so far for this year.
have you looked into what I mentioned last time, one of these where you can plug your computer in and put it on the screen? I thought maybe BNI'd look into it and maybe donate it.
So we have your best bet for doing something like that when you talk world is going to give you some advice. TVs. That's what we do. We don't run any smart boards or projectors or anything. You just get a flat screen TV and hang it on the wall.
I did talk to our IT guy about that. I said, because I had looked at those smart boards and I said, what can you tell me about these? He's like, just get a TV. Like, get a 65-inch TV with the, I think he called it like an owl or something. It's a speaker on the table that picks up your micro, you know.
We've got them in a different board setting.
Yeah. So
That works.
I can get numbers from our IT guy because he's kind of he gives us all that kind of stuff and gets us access. But yeah, that's kind of what he said too. It's cheaper and it works just as good.
That's what we have.
So
all of our rooms are set up like that.
Mm-hmm. And that's
Valuable, yeah.
I would agree. And I think having it on this wall would probably be a good place for it. And replace all those paper maps, right?
I have no
We
problem.
need more than 65-inch.
Well, whatever size. I mean, I can get a couple of different numbers from him, I'm sure.
Probably 75.
Yeah,
at least,
75.
right?
I'll get numbers. Bring it to the next meeting.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the county? Everything? No. All done? Meeting adjourned.
Awesome.